Our next event is ready to get things started. Let's watch as these two work together in a randomized speedrun in A Link to the Past.
Wait, sorry, I didn't understand those instructions. Oh, okay. The fox is reading.
Source. Hopefully
we're
still
on.
connected to the multi-world.
We're live. We're live. We're live.
I think so.
All right. Hello everyone, and welcome to A Link to the Past Multi-World Randomizer. I am Voltaleon. I am joined by Brackhar.
Hello.
And Source Otter.
Hello.
So what we are doing today is a randomizer. Randomizers are different from regular speedruns of this game in that the way that they work, the core concept of the idea is that the item locations in each game are all completely jumbled up. You can find an important item on the very first chest in the game or at the very end. The randomizer does this in such a way that the game is still able to logically be completed without the use of glitches. That being said, we'll use glitches anyway. And from there, we generate a seed. The seed is one specific instance of the randomizer. None of us know what the seed specifically contains. And part of the goal and part of the strategy is trying to figure out how to complete the game as fast as possible. Brackhar and Source, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so specifically in this, we're doing what's called a multi-world seed, which is kind of a new idea. Basically, it's not only that my items are randomized in my game, my items could actually be in Source's game, and Source's items could be in my game. So we're actually cooperatively solving effectively this puzzle of a randomized game of Link to the Past together.
2 Zeldas at once.
2 Zeldas at once. We should probably get started. Apologize for the delay. We had a whole host of technical issues, including internet outages and OVR crashes, but we're good to go. It's not a speedrun if there's not a little time pressure, right?
Yep.
That's
All right.
right.
You ready to begin?
You want
Let's
to
do it.
count us off?
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about A Link to the Past randomizer specifically. This is one of the first randomizers that was created. The goal for A Link to the Past randomizer is to collect 7 crystals, which is the price of admission to get into Ganon's Tower, climb Ganon's Tower, defeat Aghanim, and then proceed onward to defeat Ganon. There are 10 major dungeons in this game, not including Ganon's Tower and Aghanim's Tower. Of those 10 major dungeons, 3 of them are in the light world that would ordinarily contain pendants, and 7 of them are in the dark world that would ordinarily contain crystals. The randomizer here, however, does it such that the prize that you get at the end of each dungeon is randomized, so it could be one of the 3 pendants or one of the 7 crystals. The pendants themselves are generally not that useful, leading only to some specific item locations, whereas the crystals are necessary to beat the game. So oftentimes part of the strategy of this game is figuring out when you actually need to do pendant dungeons to grab items versus trying to avoid them altogether because they don't lead to actual progression.
Yeah,
so
oh,
go ahead.
So starting out, basically, our main quest right now is just to get as many progression items as we can. I'm fortunate in that Source has already sent me some bombs, and I've sent him bombs, which tend to be like an early thing that we get locked out by.
I also got a first item Moon Pearl, so
What?
we're on our way.
Send that Moon Pearl over here. I want that Moon Pearl.
And a sword. And my treeple is red rupees.
So the other
We're
consistent
off
thing
to a
that
great
keeps
start here.
happening with us is that Source always finds the items and steals them for himself, and
That's
I
true.
am I am stuck swordless for long
I have to put in all the
periods of
work over
time.
here. Yeah. All right, my Aguilarge is a heart.
Mine too.
Yeah. So these overworld locations, they're more or less doing in the same order. These are available at the beginning of the game. At the beginning of the game, as previously mentioned, it's extremely important to have bombs because bombs are needed for 3 additional chests in Kakariko, plus 5 additional chests in Mini Moldorm Cave, 1 additional chest in Ice Rod Cave, all of which are available at the beginning of the game. So a lot of the routing that they're doing at the beginning is trying to find bombs as early as possible, possibly by pulling the tree, possibly by finding them underneath the Hoarder Crab, which is what Source had done, and failing all of that, then bombs are on sale for 50 rupees at Kakariko, which they could buy, but that's not necessary because each of them found a lot of bombs right away.
Yeah, in fact, we want to try and avoid buying those if we can, because we need a decent amount of money at the beginning of the game. I'm pretty fortunate that I just found 300 rupees there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need about 600 rupees for the early checks. There's a 100 rupee check at the bottle merchant in Kakariko Village, and a 500 rupee check from Zora, King Zora.
Mm-hmm. And yes, to confirm a question that was in the chat, the game decides whose items go where. It's not up to the players to like find something like the lamp or something like the powder and say, oh, I don't need this powder, Source, you have it.
Yeah, no, that is fair. I say that Source steals all my items. He really doesn't, but we all know he actually does. Stop! No, that's my sword.
Nope, it's my sword.
Damn it.
Here, you can have those arrows instead.
Oh, joy. An arrow
You're
without a bow.
welcome.
Great. Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah,
bottle in
bottle's
time for
nice.
bottle check.
I'll take bottle.
So part of the thing that makes the randomizer experience so unique is that every seed is very unique, and it often requires a lot of game knowledge that you wouldn't really get to use otherwise. Sometimes the randomizer will give you like everything that you need right in the progression orders that you need it, in which case you can blitz through a seed in like typically an hour 30 minutes. Other times you'll be forced to other times you'll be forced to do stuff on like really low percentage of equipment, very few safeties, very few swords. And other times you'll find items in just these weird esoteric locations that can extremely test your game knowledge. So
one of the things that can also happen in multi-worlds is items can kind of show up at weird times. So I just sent Source an item while he had a bomb over his head, and the bomb blew up in his face.
Yep.
Which is one of my
Sure
favorite things
did.
about multi-world games.
The Brackhar's Revenge.
It's true. You get all the swords. I get to laugh a little bit.
All right, let's look at the map here. So my map is Crystal, Red Crystal, and Desert Palace. So that means I'll have to do all 3 of the Light World dungeons in order to get a Gans Tower.
which is good because that means you don't necessarily have to do 3 of the Dark World dungeons.
Yeah, the Light World dungeons tend to be shorter and therefore quicker. Also, the bosses
Crystal,
in them are less
crystal.
annoying. Nice.
All 3 of them are regular crystals for Brackhar. There are 2 crystals that are marked red in the randomizer that unlock an additional location, which has 2 items, and that's the only designation between the different crystals.
Ooh,
So
Early Ice
Brackhar
Rod,
checked the
the most
library.
valuable item.
Brackhar checked the library and found a sword.
But I just stare longingly at it because I need boots for that.
Oh no,
Okay.
I just found an early lantern.
No, it's your time, Source.
And
Okay, so
Brackhar just found
what
an
that
early
may
cave.
mean, Volt.
Sure. So, one of the things that is sometimes an optional location, sometimes required, that usually people don't want to do is Aghanim Tower. The way in the vanilla game, the non-randomized game, that you would get to the Dark World is by climbing up, using the Master Sword to bust through a barrier, climbing up Aghanim's Tower, and defeating Aghanim, which is your normal way of accessing the Dark World. However, there are ways of accessing the Dark World outside of that, so the hope is that we'd find one of the combinations of items that would get us to the Dark World without having to go through Aga Tower. However, in this case, Source has found the lamp, a sword, and the magic cape. The magic cape can be used to duck underneath the barrier, and that's a randomizer-specific quirk.
I actually also have Master Sword, so I don't even need the cape, but...
That's true.
It's just screaming Aghanim Tower at you right now.
It really is.
Yep. So he has all of the items needed for Aga Tower, and none needed for the vanilla configuration other than Moon Pearl.
Yeah, I may just go do it. Just like do frontside escape and then do Aghanim.
The other disadvantage to Aga Tower in the randomizer is that it doesn't actually have any items. There are 2 chests, both of which contain small keys that you need to progress further up the tower.
Yeah, it's just a sync of 6 or 7 minutes, depending on how quick you do it.
So I fortunately did find a sword, but that also means that Aghanim might be in my cards as well. I don't have to worry about that till I find a lantern, but...
Yeah, because you can't do Aghanim's... The game will not make you do Aghanim's Tower unless you have a lantern, because it has a lot of dark rooms in it that you can't complete without being able to see them.
Yeah, and that's something that we can bring up. So the lantern which Source had found is used to light up rooms that are pitch dark. When you go into a dark room and have the lantern, there's a little cone of light around Link, which lets you see where you're going specifically. If, however, you do not have the lantern, then the entire screen, including all the enemies, including all the chests and walls and things, is just pitch black, and you can't see anything. But if you played this game enough to know where you're going and to have done those rooms in the dark enough, you can actually still progress through them without the lamp. Some of these are more difficult than others. The ones that are in Aga Tower, in my opinion, are the most difficult, because you're just so infrequently do Aghanim's Tower in the dark that most people don't really take the time to learn them.
There are also lots of highly damaging enemies, so...
So I'm in a little bit of danger here, just because I'm at 2 hearts going to a place called Ice Rock Cave. These crabs on the screen deal 2 hearts of damage and move very randomly.
Alright, do you want to explain fake flippers here?
Sure. So we're getting to our first glitch. So what Source did there is jump into the water and then cross a screen transition. Ordinarily, in order to swim through the water, you would need an item called the flippers. However, by jumping into the water and then going over a screen transition, the game just assumes that the only reason you'd be able to do that is that you have the flippers anyway, so it just gives you the flippers. However, Source needs to be particularly careful, because if he gets hit by an enemy and would lose health while in the fake flipper state, he would immediately die. Doesn't matter how many hearts he has, doesn't matter what mail upgrade he has, it doesn't matter if he has a fairy or not, just immediate death.
Yeah, and there's an archer right on top of the bridge that has ended runs for me.
The Zora, one of the Zora almost got me. That was close. Alright, we're doing Aghanim. Let's go.
Ooh.
Oh, you're not doing
Aghanim before Sahasrara's Closet?
I only have 400 rupees. I was gonna do Zora, but I don't have enough rupees. I had the moon.
He's making the plays.
I'm making the play.
Kill that wizard.
I'm calling. Oops.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna do frontside escape first. But yeah, I have so normally the other ways to get to Dark World are to have either the first gloves upgrade and the hammer, or 2 gloves upgrades, and I have 0 glove upgrades and 0 hammers, and so I'm fairly confident that I'm just gonna have to do Aghanim here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get it out of the way.
Yeah, that's
as Volt mentioned, there's a couple of other checks that I could do. One in Sahasrara's Closet, and then I can also do the part of the Eastern Palace dungeon. And that honestly might be the play, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
So Brackhar has the first glove upgrade and has the bow, but not the lamp. In order to beat the first dungeon in the game, you would normally need the bow and the lamp to do it, which also brings up another like general point about strategy in this game. Whereas in a regular Legend of Zelda game, you can count on whatever item that you need to be in the dungeon that you need it for. However, in the randomizer, that is very rarely the case, and in fact, if an item is in the dungeon that you need it for, it's often like a worst case scenario. It's generally preferable to have all of the items that you need to complete a dungeon before entering it even once to begin with. So sometimes you hear people in the randomizer community talk about diving dungeons. Diving dungeons means entering the dungeon without having all of the items that you need to complete it.
Yeah, and that can be valuable because, in some cases, because the item that you need is in the dungeon, but in some cases there is an item that will open up some other dungeon in a dungeon that you can't complete because everything's so scrambled. Oof. Probably should have death, but that's okay.
There's an item in my Dark Crossroads, but I'm gonna leave that for now.
So another quirk about the randomizer.
You need the lamp.
Yes. Another quirk about the randomizer is that the dungeon items in this particular mode are constrained to the dungeon that they would normally belong in. So any maps, small keys, compasses, or big keys will be found in their vanilla dungeon. So we distinguish among the dungeon items versus random items. So Brackhar is coming to Eastern Palace. Eastern Palace has 3 random items, which can be just about anything, in addition to 3 dungeon items, which are the map, the compass, and the big key to Eastern Palace.
So what I just did there was a death warp. Basically, it's intentionally taking a death, because taking a death inside of a dungeon will respawn you back at the start of that dungeon, and it's sort of faster than walking back to the start by yourself.
And so, as an example of randomized logic, I just found the silver arrows, which are, in the normal game, one of the last items you need to find. Which makes that a lot of my boss battles, at least the ones that are vulnerable to silver arrows, will go very easily for me.
I'm struggling. This room always gets me. Yeah, okay.
Ooh.
Marathons. It happens.
Yeah, this is what we call a second completely intentional death warp.
You're really good at those intentional death warps.
Totally purposeful, yeah.
Practice them a lot.
This has never happened before. Oh my gosh.
All right, so Brackhar finding the 50 rupees in Eastern Palace is the first random item. 2 more random items to find.
Not again. Oh, there we go.
What were you gonna say, Source?
Okay. I'm struggling over here. The other reason that Aghanims isn't a thing you want to do is because there are a lot of enemies in it, and particularly early in the game like this when you don't have very many hearts. Oh god.
You might want to do. If you die again, you might want to try Closet.
Yeah, I may end up abandoning this plan. I don't really want to do, because I'm fairly certain I'm gonna have to do this sooner or later. But
yeah, I mean, 5 hearts green mail can be rough in there.
Yep.
You do have the magic cape, and in a pinch you can make use of the ice rod.
Yeah. I probably should have used the cape.
Good game knowledge there, knowing that heart was there.
All right, let's see.
This is one of my favorite glitches. Boom, boom, boom.
So, in the room that Brackhar just did, there are 4 skeletons that will normally spawn, and you have to defeat the skeletons before moving on. However, if you know where they're going to spawn, there's a glitch that you can do, which prevents them from spawning, and you just move onward.
Oh, I don't have the big key.
Okay, so we're about to get to Brackhar's first dark room in the game. As you can see, it is very dark. Brackhar is holding out the sword like that in order to light his own way. So in this room, there is a pot.
Where's the key?
There are actually several
There it
pots
is.
as well as several Stalfos. You have to lift up a specific pot in order to grab a key, then make your way back to the previous room. And
go.
Brackhar is through it. With only a little
But-
bit of health. I don't know if you want to do the glitch in this room.
and,
There is a pot.
I will
There is a pot with
do-
a heart that you can rely on, but that offsets where the enemy is.
oh, well, that's fine. I do this one anyway.
Okay, that's fair. Big key to Eastern.
Oh no. Oh no. I almost got all the way to the top. I had 2 rooms left.
You hate to see it.
I think you may bail, man. Like,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to bail. That's
especially
upsetting.
since you can do. Oh, I don't feel comfortable on this many hearts doing the next room.
Oh,
I'll get the fairies.
no game audio. Let me see what I can do about that.
I died while dropping into the pot. Oh well, I have a fairy.
Well,
That's humiliating.
you can just get another one.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. It's just a little humiliating.
So this is a hard game. This is one of the first things that I learned when I started running this game is that this game is fairly difficult and can be really punishing at times. And the randomizer can be even more so because you can get sort of fairly far through the game before you find the first armor upgrade or very many hearts, maximum hearts. And so like sometimes the logic requires you to beat bosses just with absolutely the slimmest of margins. Okay, well, I should have come here in the first place because I just found flute in Sastral's closet, which is a big deal.
This is a fortunately very tough room to do in the dark.
Okay.
There he is.
Sorry for the brief
This is gone.
lapse. Is there game audio now?
I still have a parry. This room's gone completely off the rails.
Yeah, this room in particular is difficult to deal with in the dark. There is a green Igor that would normally go down in one hit with the bow. However, there are a lot of other enemies, so it's difficult to pinpoint when exactly the green Igor is and when specifically they're vulnerable. And those Igors are very relentless in chasing you.
Got one of them. Come on, where's the other one? Fishing. There we go.
All right, so I have the flute now, which is a big item because it allows you to teleport around the map. And crucially, that includes points that you have not previously visited or would be able to visit. So for example, you need the lantern to get up Death Mountain normally, but if you have the flute, you can just teleport there.
Alright, Brackhar is coming to the first boss in the game, which is Armos Knights. With silver arrows, this will be an extremely trivial fight.
You say that and I immediately get hit.
Don't jinx him too much, yeah.
Wow, that was messy.
Still extremely trivial. Ordinarily, you wouldn't have the silver arrows for this fight, obviously. The silver arrows are actually like one of the last items that you obtain in the vanilla, the unrandomized game. And it's a good... They are able to defeat almost all enemies in the game in just a single hit, with the exception of the ones that aren't vulnerable to arrows to begin with, and Vitreous takes 2 and Ganon takes 4, but most enemies in one single hit.
So interestingly, I didn't get any progression items there. So that likely means either Desert Hobo or Zora has my progression item. Still a fine way to spend time because I was able to beat it.
Funny.
But
All right, I think I'm fairly certain that I'm gonna have to do power. I have Tempered Sword now, or Agate Tower. I have Tempered Sword now, which should make it much easier. But I need to.
Yeah.
Just need to buckle down and focus on it. I could also buy a potion. That honestly might not be a bad idea, but I think I'm gonna do without.
did we resolve the game audio vault?
Yes, we did.
Great. So that is not what Agina normally says. Oh, there you go, Source. You don't. Well, that's a handy find.
Oh, on my mirror. Okay.
Mirror actually doesn't
I
unlock
still
that
might
much.
need to do it.
Yeah, Mirror doesn't actually
Yeah.
unlock that much
Because
for
I
Source
can't get
right
into the Dark
now.
World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm going to do another glitch right now and go to the error room.
Hmm.
I'm doing this slowly, but I'm doing it to preserve my health. There we go.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Do what you need to. So because it's not obvious, the mirror that Brackhar just gave to Source is used to get from the Dark World to the Light World. This unlocks a couple of item locations where, like, the Dark World deviates from the Light World, and you can use it to go on top of, like, a cliff for Cave 45 and Bumper Cave. It is also used to get into Hera Tower, and it's necessary in order to enter Swamp Palace. So Mirror is a good find, but without access to Death Mountain, right now it doesn't do for Source that much at the very beginning.
Yeah, and I did just leave Death Mountain right before I got the mirror, so that's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. I was gonna have to go back anyway, so yep.
I
So
believe the only in-logic check I have left is Zora.
Okay, and don't have the Moon Pearl, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And so by in logic here, oh no.
Yeah, do you want to explain what that means by in-logic?
Sure. So, as I was saying earlier, when a game is randomized, it does it in such a way that the game will always be completable without glitches. However, it is possible to use glitches to sequence break the game in order to ideally get items earlier than you would get them without sequence breaking. So when we talk about in logic versus out of logic, what in logic means is that accessible without using one of those glitches to get them early. So,
And in general, if you can stay in logic, you want to, because there is, you're sort of more likely, all of your progression items must be in logic at some point or another, and so generally those checks are preferable for that reason.
right. The other reason why you would do stuff out of logic is for sake of convenience. So, for example, Brackhar is going over to the Zora area. Zora himself is in logic because you don't actually need the flippers in order to get that. However, Brackhar is doing all this other stuff that does require the flippers for, and using fake flippers in order to do it. Fake flippers is a sequence break. Fake flippers is doing something out of logic, but by routing it in with the in-logic check, it makes it more convenient, so you don't have to go back and do the other flipper stuff later.
Alright, I have successfully completed the climb here. So now I get to fight Aghanim. And this sort of brings in a Zelda classic, the tennis ball, the tennis match.
Mm-hmm. So, the Aghanim fight is basically free once you know how to do it. You have to defeat Aghanim by hitting reflecting 6 balls at him, the first shot and every 5th shot after that will always be the ball that you can reflect back. The 2nd through 4th shot has a 50-50 chance of being the ball that you can reflect back, and a blue ball, which you would not be able to reflect back. And then every 5th shot is lightning, which you should just avoid. You can also tell that Aghanim's about to shoot lightning because he's not turning to look at Source here.
I'll stand farther away so you can actually see the ball this time.
Oh, that was your mitt, not mine. Okay.
Yeah, it was my mitt.
All right, Source. My progression has to be in your game. I'm gonna go out of logic.
Yeah, I just did Aghanim, so I'll be able to do Hype Cave in the South Loop. Or actually, is that true? I guess it's not actually true because I don't have hammer.
Not easily if you don't have.
Yeah.
So there's Catfish, Shovel Spot, Death Mountain is open now. Catfish into Zora is not a bad play.
Yeah, Catfish and Azora is probably the play.
Did you activate the flute yet?
I have activated the flute, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So I guess
Yeah, the flute.
I guess Lightside Death Mountain was already in Logic.
I did. I already went up there and got Old Man, but I didn't have the mirror at that point,
Okay.
and I don't have the hook shot. So
Okay, so that opens up Hera Tower, but nothing more than that, really. Did you check Shovel Spot yet?
I have not checked Shovel Spot. Also, there's my flippers.
So those flippers
That's
are out of
very-
logic. So
That is very convenient, though,
So-
because Source is right at the
Yeah,
Catfish
I
and
can do
Zora area.
Waterfall.
yeah, but those
Oh my
are
gosh.
out of logic. So
Oh, right, I have to go down here.
did you do Sarasala and Eastern Palace?
I have done Sarasrala. I did not do Eastern Palace.
Okay.
They do not have the bow yet.
There's one other check I just realized I can do that's in logic. I'll do that after this. No, okay.
Brackhar, did you check Shovel Spot
Alright,
yet?
swing and a miss there.
That's what I'm about to do.
Okay. Yeah, Shovel
I
Spot.
just realized I'd found Source's shovel and then I found mine and I got that confused. So
Yeah, Shovel is an easy one to mistake because ordinarily in the vanilla game you would use the shovel to get the flute. As a result, you would never have both the shovel and the flute at the same time. So they actually share an inventory slot. In the randomizer, since it's possible to have shovel and flute at the same time, you would have to hit an additional button in order to switch from one to the other. But once you get the flute and once you have the flute active, then you'll be using the flute a lot because that's a way to fast travel, and it's easy to accidentally forget about the shovel in the meantime.
So I am out of checks at this point. I can't get up to Death Mountain because I don't have the mirror or the hookshot. I already did the left side check out of sequence. I don't have Moon Pearl, so I can't do Waterfall. I did Zora. I did Eastern Palace. So yeah, my there's.
So I guess am I doing hair next? Like, what's the most check that I can get for you here? I feel like it's probably Spectacle and Hera.
Yep.
But
So
I
I'll
could
do
be
this.
wrong about that.
Spectacle has 2, Hera has an additional 2. Definitely don't forget about the shovel spot.
Yeah.
You can try
Yeah,
doing...
and then I can dive Eastern.
Yep, you can dive
I
Eastern.
cannot get into Desert Palace yet.
Eastern, you'll be able to get at least 2, maybe all 3.
There's a Moon Pearl on Spectacle Rock which is yours.
Don't forget to check
Do you have Dark
inside
World
Spectacle
access?
Rock though as well.
Yeah,
I do have Dark World access.
Okay, so that'll open up a bunch for you.
Yeah, I'll finish doing this real fast since I'm here.
So the Moon Pearl as an item basically allows you to be sort of fully capable in the Dark World. Otherwise, you turn into a bunny, or whatever your sprite has defined.
You'll get to see what my
Oh,
sprite
wow.
does a little later.
There's a glove in the Spectacle Rock cave too. Man, I wish I'd actually just come up here instead of getting hit by that rock and dying.
So this dark room that I'm doing right now used to scare me a lot, and frankly, it still scares me. Because it's a sequence of 3 dark rooms.
This is probably my glove too. Nope, it's yours.
Oh, great.
Ooh, just like that, Brackhar has Dark World access via Titan's Mitts.
Yes, thank you. That
Well,
actually is exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Vol, do you want to explain bomb jumping?
Sure.
Let me see if I can actually get this. I may or may not be able to. We'll see.
Okay, so bomb jumps
Gosh.
are ways that you can use to cross gaps that you're not supposed to be able to cross. This gap in particular is challenging because it is 3 spaces wide, whereas most of the gaps that you'll use are only 2.
No, I fell.
The reason why you do it is to essentially save time in order to get back up to the top of the mountain, so source missing that isn't a big deal, you just have to climb a little bit more.
Yeah.
There are a couple bomb jumps in other places that are a lot of fun to get to pull off. One of which will
Most
be
of the bomb
in...
jumps are more or less pixel perfect as well.
Yeah. Yeah. One of which is in Hera. There's a very important one in Ice Palace. Those are the most important, I think. There are actually several in Ice Palace. There are several in Pod, but... Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there's the one in the one to get in Death Mountain as well. To get back over the can't remember if it's Light World or Dark World. Like Hookshot Cave. That's Light World, right?
Sorry,
Yeah,
which one?
on the Light World Death Mountain side to get back to Spiral.
Oh yeah, that is Paradox
Instead
Cave.
of having to go all the way down. Yep.
Yep. That's a nice one too. Also prevents you from having to climb more of the mountain.
Oh no. Small key.
And you don't have hookshot. So, there's a glitch in Tower of Hera that lets you basically get to the top of the tower as fast as possible. But that requires having the hookshot already, and Source does not have the hookshot, unfortunately.
Wait. Before I go in here.
So
I
Hera
also don't
Basement
have
it
boots.
is.
I don't know how to do it without boots. Oh.
Okay.
Fortunately, I have cape for basement. You want to explain the cape glitch? Or well, I don't even know if if it counts as a glitch, but
Are you gonna use the cape glitch?
yeah, the manaless cape.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the magic cape is an item that makes you both invisible and invincible as long as you are holding it. Ordinarily, this would drain your magic power at a very rapid rate. However, if you don't hold any directional button, but grab onto a wall, for whatever reason, the game doesn't drain your magic. And as such, these floor tiles, which would normally deal 1 heart of damage, are just bouncing off the wall.
Yeah, that room is like there are strategies to complete it without having to use that cape, but it's just much more convenient to just sit there and chill for a minute.
That's one as well that people find very challenging in the vanilla game, but as you start to get used to speedrunning and get used to the randomizer, you realize that it's actually free. Okay, so what Brackhar did there was dive into Thieves Town in order to collect 4 items. The first 4 items are relatively low time investment to capture. Brackhar can actually complete Thieves Town right now, however, there is 1 chest in the dungeon that you would need the hammer to get. So by diving the first 4 and leaving, that's essentially a way of mitigating the risk of there being an item in that big chest while still allowing you to get some potential benefit out of the dungeon.
Yeah, I also only found 1 item in the first 4 chests, so it's much more likely that the item in that dungeon is locked in the big key chest. Additionally, it's a pendant dungeon, so I'm opting to avoid it for now.
Yep. Those are all very fair calls. Thieves Town has 4 items normally. The first 4 checks are relatively easy to do, but the rest of them are basically require a lot of going through the entire dungeon. All right, so Brackhar is about to do digging game. In the randomizer, it shows up in one. Wow, that's ridiculous.
Okay.
I was about to say in
Sure, I'll
randomizer,
take
it can show up between dig 1 and dig 30. In this case, it was dig number 1, the very fastest digging game possible.
I've actually never had a 1 dig game. I've had a couple of 2 digs, but never a 1.
I can't recall having a 1 either.
That's my first one. That's 100% my first one. Seed's trying to be nice for the technical issues we had. Oh, talk to you.
Yeah. Oh. My arch nemesis.
Oh, great.
Ooh, flute. So flute is
No mirror, but
flute is a nice item to find because it calls forth a duck that lets you go through the light world and fast travel. In addition, this is required in order to enter Misery Mire, because in order to get to Misery Mire, you have to use a particular dark world portal that is on a ledge that can only be accessed via the flute. Going into Misery Mire also requires having the Titan's Mitts, and checking the chests that are in the area also requires the Titan's Mitts. So because Brackhar already has that, that's a relatively good thing to do early. And there are the flippers, a blue mail, lamp, and
okay, sure.
lamp and a bottle. So this cave in the regular game is pretty unremarkable. It just contains a bunch of rupees, really. However, in the randomizer, since there are 5 items that are extremely free and easy to get, we call it Hype Cave, because we're always hoping and hyped that something good will be there, and in this case it actually is, but usually Hype Cave is just a cave of disappointments.
A cave of disappointment and whoa.
False hype. Alright, so I'm actually running a little short on checks myself now, I think.
Okay.
I have a couple left. I still shovel spot them and start diving eastern here.
Yep, you can see Pod first as well, see if that is bow locked.
I cannot. Oh yeah, I can. I have to go through Aghanim, but I can.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Source, which one are you opting for?
I'm in eastern right now.
Oh, okay. I was looking at Brackhart's side.
You're good. Also, can we take a minute to talk about these sprites?
Yeah! So, these are custom sprites of Brackhar and Source's Sonas. These were done by Jirla. I will post Jirla's name in the chat.
Who is waving off camera, I'm sure. Hello.
Yeah, Jirla's actually helping out by assisting with the tracking today, as well as Kalia Rube.
Oh, there you go, Source.
Huh? Ooh, that probably means I stopped diving. Yeah, I'll go as far as I can, I guess.
I mean,
Okay, so that means that I now have Dark World access from a number of places that I did not before, so that's convenient.
If you want to get into this game, the website to get into it is alttpr.com, and it has a lot of resources to get you started, a lot of resources that help new players out and provide information about where locations are and what some of the most common early routing mistakes are. There's also an extremely active community, an extremely popular community that is very friendly and willing to help out new players. It's a super fun community to be a part of. Another thing that you can do when you generate a game is set a custom sprite. There are a lot of custom sprites that are available, ranging from everything from like furry Fox Link to a bunch of dragons to a bunch of memes like a Mountain Dew Pepsi can, or just there's one that's just like a shadow. There are characters
Yeah.
from other games, such as Celeste. There's Homer Simpson, Ned Flanders.
I really liked beating the game as a Kuko, one of the chickens from Link to the Past.
The Coco gets
Yeah,
his revenge at
also-
last. Go
But
ahead.
also, if you have like there are artists out there that can commission sprite sheets like this as well. So if you get really into it, you can just get your own special sprite sheet and have your character in the game as you play, which is super awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I'm very glad
Ooh.
I dove this because my Titan's mitts were in the big key chest in Eastern.
Oh wow, okay. All right, well I found Hookshot in Waterfall
that
Cave,
means-
so
Yeah. So we've kind of broken the game wide open. Like we have access to most of the map now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of just finding all the pieces. that we
I
need to
really
find.
still need to find Mirror. That's one of the main things that is blocking me.
Dang it! You just made me miss my duck. I did not know that was possible. Oh, you missed
And
it
again! And again!
Stop! I beg you,
You're taking the long way around.
please.
Yeah,
I want
there's
to go home.
Hammer I am also missing. I need Hammer.
Oh, you're missing hammer as well. Okay. All right, well, I get to do Hype Cave now.
Yeah. Brackhar is on the east side of Death Mountain, which is absolutely a treasure trove of items, and with the hookshot, can go to the Dark World, east side Death Mountain as well, which has even more. Regular east side Death Mountain has 8, plus you get to see what is on the floating island, and then when you get into the Dark World, there are 6, and
Oh,
you
there's
can
that.
actually get all 6 with
No!
the cave. And Source just found Brackhar's hammer,
thank
so
you.
now the game is even more wide open.
Yeah, so I'll be able to do Hera now that I'm up here, which I wasn't expecting to be able to. I should actually... I don't have the mirror. I should probably do that first, since I'm here. Let's go do that.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Other potential options. Pendant Thief's Town is now completable for what it's worth. Palace of Darkness, which is a crystal and also pretty dense on items, having 5.
Yeah.
That is also completable, and in logic because you also have the lamp now. And
Oh,
Source
wow.
just found the hookshot.
Stump Kid had my hook shot.
Yeah.
Big game on here, or big spot.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm glad you remembered that, because I had actually forgotten about it. That's, like I said, that's one of them. If it's not constantly at the forefront of your mind, it's just like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
It's very easy to forget about. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm
Source
gonna
finding
get
that
to-
hookshot
I'm
lets you
gonna-
complete Swamp Palace, which is kind of in the neighborhood. What are you gonna do, Brackhar?
I am gonna likely do Herapot.
Ooh.
All
This is a
right.
fun one. Oh no. Guess what I found?
Oh, you are now...
It's-
wait, is it mine?
No, it's mine.
Source is literate.
Okay.
I am literate. I found the book. The book is a sort of an annoying find because there are several one-off, very out-of-the-way checks that the book unlocks that now could have important items in it for me.
Right.
Do you want to explain what I'm about to do, Volt?
Okay, so Brackhar is using a glitch called Herapot. This is basically a double pixel perfect glitch where you set a bomb and then line yourself off a specific spot in order to clip yourself into a pot, which lets you go up through the dungeon as fast as possible.
Oh, I think I did the mini Moldorm thing.
I was
Hold on.
about to ask that because I thought that your positioning looked pretty good there.
Maybe
This is
do
the
something
thing that
wrong.
we learned like last week about. There's a situation that you can get in if you kill the mini Moldorm in that dungeon and pick up the item that it drops while that item is in the air. This double pixel perfect glitch stops working.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things about learning this specifically is you're always learning something new.
There are lots of little tiny details all over the place. which actually makes it a very fun game to run because you can kind of constantly. The game is sort of so well understood, and there are so many people that have been playing it for so long that there's lots and lots of very, developed thinking on how to do stuff.
Very nice job, Brackhar.
Thank you. So that let me skip entirely the room in the basement, that tile room that Source was showing off earlier. Why did I do that?
No.
Oh well, I'll just do another glitch. That's fine.
Yep, that's fine.
Keep the glitches rolling.
All right, so Brackhar's about to do a bomb jump in order to get to the big chest, which is actually faster than like opening up the portal there anyway.
Oh, I don't have the big key.
Oh, okay. Well, the big key's in the
Oh, no.
basement. I believe you found one item so far.
No, I found none,
Oh, that's
which is bad.
yeah, that's unfortunate then. Okay, so in that case,
This is
one of the
the
items
case where the Harapot. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in that case, one of the items is going to be... There are 2 items in the dungeon total, 2 random items in the dungeon total, plus the dungeon items. One of the random items is going to be on this boss, Moldorm, and then the basement has a big key, and the remaining random item is in the big chest.
And the reason that we know that, by the way, is because the game is built such that everything is completable without glitches. It's sort of by process of elimination. If the big key wasn't in that first room, in other words, if the first room is a small key, and the big key has to either be in the chest in the main room or in the basement. It cannot be anywhere else, or else if you didn't know how to do Harapot, the game would be uncompletable.
Exactly.
I'm gonna strand that chest in Hera. That's too long of a check for me to feel good about that.
Ooh.
Because I have to do basement. I have to do basement, get the big key, and then come back?
So this is one of those things that might change depending on whether you're doing like an actual race against someone or playing in like a marathon situation like this. In a race, it's like the odds that there is a critical item in there is somewhat small, not 0, but small. And so if you skip it, you may be able to save some seconds and get ahead in the race. A marathon situation might still be the right play. I don't know, but it's if there is an important thing in there, it's pretty painful to have to come back all the way back.
That is Source's passive-aggressive way of telling me go back there and find my fire rod.
You live your life, man. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I'm going to live my best life over
I
here.
did
My best
exactly
life's in
what
Dark Death
I did
Mountain.
exactly
Okay.
what Brackhar did in my most recent competitive race, and it worked out fine. But it made me nervous.
See, we're 100% playing exactly the same seed of that, so it'll definitely work out fine.
Yeah. And this is the other thing about sort of learning how to optimize this game is that you basically just have to make the highest percentage plays. It's like you can't. It's not like a normal speedrun where you can just get your execution down to a perfection point. You have to guess and strategize and adapt on the fly, which is one of the reasons that I've kept playing this, even though I've sort of bounced off other speed games in the past.
Yeah, it's one thing that I like about randomizers in general. You're always getting a new set of circumstances
my
to
mirror.
adapt to, and every game is dramatically different from the previous game that you've experienced. And like
Alright, so with
we're like
mirror-
barely scratching the surface on all the custom options that you can set on the randomizer page as well. But yes, Brackhar found the mirror.
I am not in go mode because I need fire rod and ice rod. Okay.
You know
You also need Kane.
I also need Kane. So still 3 items left, but I'm getting towards the end of what I need.
I actually
To be able
never
to
did.
stop checking checks.
I never did my map check for Dark World. All right, let's see what I got here. Oh, okay, I'm glad I stopped. That was
That's
okay.
handy.
So my pendants are in Thieves Town, Misery Mire, and Ice Palace, with Ice Palace being the green pendant.
Yep.
And Pod
And
is my
Pod is
is
a
my
red crystal.
Yeah.
Which is not quite completable. Source needs a bow.
Okay, so I think I'm actually supposed to do Swamp Palace next.
Yeah, I think that's a good play. Swamp Palace is one of the most item-dense dungeons in the game. It has 6 random items, can kind of be a pain to complete because it's a bit long and somewhat linear, but in this situation, I think it's worth it.
I also don't have Cane of Samaria, unfortunately. I'll try to get Bomb Diver down just to show it off on stream, but we'll see. We'll see if that happens.
Yep. Don't forget that you can talk to the witch in order to get a full heal.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, well.
You're just giving the witch additional business instead. That's fine. Gotta support your your local light world economy.
Once you've bought the King's Roar item, rupees are sort of never a problem again. Like, you don't really ever run out of money in this game because there are the 300 rupee checks, which are sort of very out of the way in the base game, are sort of scattered around, and you're opening so many checks that you're likely to hit several 300 rupee spots in any given playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid monkey.
Okay, so Brackhar is doing Palace of Darkness. Palace of Darkness is an interesting dungeon. It has 5 random items and 6 keys in addition to the big key and the map and compass. So there are a lot of checks in this dungeon, and the way that you route it can differ dramatically depending on what items you have at the given time. So in this case, since a small key was found in that left chest, we know that it is not bow locked. If there was anything but a small key in that chest, then you would need a bow in order to get all of the remaining items in logic.
You want to talk about Mirror Block real quick on my side?
Oh, sure. So, Source just execute it. So Source just glitched a block out of existence. Basically, when you use the mirror while pushing an object, then... Well, while you're pushing an object in general, the object ceases to be solid, so you can do stuff like hookshot through that or shoot a fire rod through it. If you do the mirror through it, however, the game doesn't really understand what's supposed to happen with the block, so it just gets rid of it and glitches it out of existence.
And one of my weak spots in Randomizer is just being on Greymail for a long time. Like, I'm just not good at avoiding taking damage, and particularly Dark World dungeons the enemies tend to do a lot of damage, and so if you are not very good at dodging things, you take damage very, very quickly. It very quickly adds up.
Mm-hmm.
All the enemies just want to hug you a lot.
I also only have 7 hearts, even still, which is pretty low for this point in a game. Now,
what is working out in your favor though is having the Tempered Sword. So if there are enemies in your way, then most of them will just vanish in a single hit. And Brackhar, I believe, also has the Tempered Sword, so damage output is not a problem here.
Yeah. That's the other situation which runs can be very difficult, is if you have, like, for example, the Fighter Sword, which is the very first sword upgrade. If you have it for a long period of time, you just don't do any damage.
Mm-hmm. And you actually
do you want to
cannot...
talk about how progressive items work?
Sure. So progressive items versus non-progressive items. Progressive items are necessary in order to work through the actual goal of getting up to Ganon's Tower. So in most games, most of the major items that you find will be progression, such as, like, the gloves are always a progressive item, the hammer is always a progressive item because you always need those. However, there are some seeds in which you don't necessarily need particular items to find. So, for example, the Ice Rod is only used to beat the boss on Turtle Rock, and that's it. So, if you don't need to beat the boss on Turtle Rock, then you don't actually need the Ice Rod. In this case, that's irrelevant because Turtle Rock is a crystal for both of them. But, yeah, that's.
Yeah, and so that's what Brackhar was talking about when he was saying go. You know, this idea of go mode. Go mode basically means I have all of the progression items I need to beat the game, and so I can just focus on completing dungeons as fast as possible and stop opening more chests because I don't need how many bombs do I have. I don't need any more items. It's also interesting because there's no. You go ahead.
So it's also made a little bit more complicated in this multi-world format that we have, because like I might find all the items I need to progress in my game, but we're cooperatively playing this, right? So the items that Source needs may still be in my game. So we're not actually in go mode until we're both in go mode.
All right, I'm gonna try to do bomb diver down here. So basically, the way that this works is I'm gonna have to line. Oops, nope, fire snake, go away.
Get away, fire snake.
I'm gonna have to line up on a very specific pixel here.
Careful.
Wait for you to get an item.
Don't do
like
it. You're getting an item.
Okay.
I will.
All right.
I will not stop
all right.
you.
So basically, I'm gonna put a bomb down and try to use it to clip into the wall. I think I got it. I almost.
You were a little short there.
Yeah, I was a little short. I'll try this a couple more times, see if we can get it, because the end result is fairly spectacular.
If not, I'll have a chance at it when I go through that dungeon next.
All right.
This looks good.
Oh, no, not quite. Fire snake. It's in the way. All right, one more try. Oh, 2 more tries.
All right, Brackhar is going on to the boss, so you've got time.
Man. This requires a very precise sequence of inputs here. Let me try one more time.
Close.
Oh, man,
Close.
I'm right on the edge of getting it each time. All right.
Yeah.
I want to save one bomb, so I'm gonna try
One
this
more
one
go.
time.
You
If
got this.
I don't get it.
Yeah, this is a difficult one to pull off.
Oh no!
That's
I
unfortunate.
saw that.
Yeah, it's a difficult trick to pull
Yeah,
off
my
with just
screen
bombs
is
because
glitched now.
it requires both a precision component as well as a timing component. So it's not the end of the world not being able to do it. It just means that you won't be able to use the fastest technique to get through that room. There's
Although-
another setup. There's another setup with the
Oh no!
red
I forgot the
cane,
fishes do 1,000,000 damage.
which is a lot
Source,
easier to pull off.
That is probably for
Yeah.
the best since you flooded the key.
I did.
You would need to leave.
Actually.
You would need to leave the dungeon and come back anyway.
Yep. Thank you for reminding
Yeah,
me, because I would have totally forgotten.
Bomb diver down is a really cool trick, but the setup for it is irrevocable. So once you do the setup, if you fail the trick, you actually have to leave the dungeon and come back.
Yeah, you have to do what I'm doing now, which you have to come out and pull this lever again to drain the water from the temple.
Yeah, it is a painful walk of shame.
Yeah. So the actual mechanics of that is you have to place the bomb in a pixel perfect position, jump into the water. While you're in the air, you have a 20 frame window to hold both down and right at the same time. That will cause you to jump out of the water and give you another 20 frame window to hold only right. And then you have to hold it. You have to tap left for 1 frame, and then you can you jump up. And the end result, what it looks like, is that you're almost clipped into the water, so you're on the lower level of the dungeon like you would normally be if you were walking on the ground, but you're in the water, so you can sort of interact with things in a very strange way.
It looks like you're wearing the iron boots from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, exactly.
And nice Helmasaur kill, Brackhar. That's another fight that is made significantly easier with these silver arrows.
Oh no. Okay.
I should have just mirrored. Oh well,
No.
that's fine. We will.
Don't forget the key.
I think I left an item behind in pod. Okay, I'll make a mental note of that. Because I think the big key chest actually might still have an item in it.
Sorry, I wasn't paying
Oh
attention.
no, it's fine, it's fine. It's not the worst. I just need to make a mental note of 1 item in Hera and maybe 1 item in pod.
Okay.
It's fine. There's still a whole bunch of rich checkpoints ahead of me, so...
Okay, so Brackhar is doing Swamp Palace now. And Source is already there. It's often fun, like, both in Multiworld as well as in Randomizer races, where just the sequence of routing that people take results in being in the same dungeon at the same time.
So I also do not have the cane, so unless I happen to find it, I will also be struggling with the bomb jump diver down. So
Are you
we'll
gonna
see
go
how
for
that
it?
Goes. Source and I, yeah, of course I'm gonna go for it.
All right.
Source and I just learned this trick this week, so
You gotta risk it for the biscuit, yeah.
yeah, gotta put on a show.
I'm also playing
I
on a
believe-
different controller than I typically play on. And I'm gonna blame that. It's the controller's fault.
I mean,
believe in you.
that is fair. You are.
It's not me. It's the
There's
controller.
one of the many technical troubles we had earlier
no.
today.
Source, if you do,
Awkward. Yo, what?
yeah, there are 3 pots that have hearts in them at the bottom of the next floor. If you don't already know that.
Oh yeah, I never really go down there. This room is just such a bullet hell all the time. Oh, ow.
Volt, are there any questions from the chat that we could answer?
Not immediately, but chat, if you have any questions about how the randomizer works
Nope.
or why people are doing what they're doing, feel free to ask away, and I'd be happy to help explain. And like I was saying before, A Link to the Past randomizer is one of the first randomizers that was invented. There are other ones that are extremely popular. Ocarina of Time randomizer is very in vogue right now. Super Metroid randomizer, I think, was the first, and there's actually a combo Super Metroid plus A Link to the Past randomizer where you go through certain doors inside different buildings, and all of a sudden you're playing a completely different game.
Yeah, you can find like your
Switch
Master
fluidly
Sword
back
off
and
of somewhere deep inside Planet Zemus. It's pretty crazy to see.
My long play is to like get very good at Link to the Past randomizer so that I can then learn the Metroid randomizer and then end up being
That
able to play
randomizer's
that.
crazy.
I
I've seen
am
it, it's
I am
just
not there
insane.
yet. Yeah.
Source Brule
Alright,
thinks
so I'm doing
that
the setup
you
for
two
Bomb
sound
Diagram.
exactly alike.
What? What? Alright.
I will take that as a compliment, Brackhar.
I'm glad you take that as a compliment. Stupid fire, get out here. Get out here. Go, get. You too. Okay.
Oh no.
Alright, let's see. Gotta get really close.
Yeah, SMZ3
Okay,
Rando is
so
awesome. I don't actually play the Super Metroid part of it, and I don't think any of us do either.
Oh, I did it!
Let's go!
First try.
First try,
Hey,
bomb
let's
diver
go.
down. So that lets you grab
So I
this
should be
key,
swimming here.
just like walking on top of the water, and picking up a... You're picking up a skull pod that is drowned underneath the water while you are standing on top of the water, because that's how physics works now.
Yeah,
And
it's
the reason that that's useful.
Oh,
Go
go
ahead. You go ahead.
so yeah, that trick is great specifically for this dungeon because normally there's like a really circuitous route you need to take. You need to like go get the key, then flip the switch to hit the thing, and then you have to walk back by the big key chest. So you have to visit all the rooms like multiple times, but that trick lets you visit each room once, and it ends up saving a ton of time.
Keyouter asks, what is a good time in a randomizer race? Being
So
able to...
my
First of
personal
all,
best-
yeah, first of all, let me say,
You go
being
ahead.
able to finish this at all is a good time because, as we were saying before, A Link to the Past is a very hard game, and depending on the seed that you get, that can make the game even harder. So, being able to finish is already like a good initial goal. That being said, for us, getting into the competitive side of things, around 2 hours is typically a very competitive time. With it being multi-world, I would expect this to go a bit longer than 2 hours, probably closer to 2 hours 30. But that's with 2 people doing the game at the same time.
Yeah, it's
Brackhar
'cause
Source,
you can sort of get stuck waiting for the other person's item. Yeah. No, I definitely feel the same way in terms of time. I think the first time I completed it, it was like a 4.5 hours or something like that. It took me a very, very long time.
That's faster than the first time that I beat it.
Yeah, that is very close to like my first time as well. Like my initial goal was just to get us below 4 hours. All right, Bomber Diver down, Bomb Mark 2, go.
Oh, this looks good.
No, I'm stuck in it, but it
you're
didn't work.
stuck.
All
Okay,
right, that's fine. It's fine. We'll do it again.
You know, you have to tap if you're stuck like that. You can tap left if you're in the state that I think you're in. Like you tap left a single time and then you can jump down. I think.
I'm getting clipped in, but not. How many bombs do I have? Oh, I'm fine. I got time. Oh, nope.
Yeah, Blade GVR says it's funny to see Brackhar having full health and Source running around with only one. Oftentimes, from my experience, if I have a lot of the safety items available, then I just end up getting careless, and I can have like 15 hearts and red mail, and I'll still be at like 2 hearts. I could also be at like 6 hearts and green mail, and I'd still also have 2 hearts, just because I'm much more careful when
you start playing safer.
having low safeties.
All right, one more time. Otherwise, since you have seen Diver down, if I just can't do this in a marathon setting, that's fine. I will go do the other one.
This looks good.
No, I clipped out. I don't know what's happening. All right, we'll do it the old way.
Yeah, that was what was happening to me too. It looked like I was gonna get it.
All right,
and
tap
I
left.
bounced up somehow.
I did.
Oh,
I did.
okay, you're good. You're good.
Hey,
So
nice.
fun fact about that room: when you go up that stairs, there's a glitch that can happen where you go back down the stairs without meaning to involuntarily, and it's a bit of a head scratcher why that happens. But there's a way that you can avoid it by just tapping left.
Yeah.
As you're climbing
so
the
going back
staircase
to the time things. Yeah, my first run was like 4:10 when I played, and so it's like setting incremental goals for yourself is really good. Getting sub 4 hours and then sub 3 hours. I only got like sub 2 hours about like a month and a half ago. For reference, I've only been playing this since about August of this year. So I'm still like fairly new to the scene. Volt's actually my personal sensei teaching me how to go through this.
I do my best.
But yeah, so my PB right now is 138, which I'm actually really happy with. I didn't think I'd get sub 140 this year.
Yeah, and mine for comparison is actually one that I set I think 2 or 3 days ago is a 146, which I'm also quite pleased with because I was struggling. There was a period of several weeks where every single time that I got was 230, 235, 238, 232, like over and over and over. And I was just like hit a plateau, and it took quite a while to push through it.
Mm-hmm. And it's also worth noting that like there is a lot of variability in this, right? Because sometimes the way that the items decide to position themselves is extremely non-conducive to a speedrun. Sometimes you end up having to do all of the dungeons because an item that you need is on the Master Sword pedestal, which requires the 3 pendants in order to get, and ordinarily you wouldn't need to do the 3 pendants at all. So, while personal bests, just keep in mind that there's a lot of variation that can come in A Link to the Past randomizer. So if you're not always setting personal bests for yourself, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not improving.
Okay, well I
One
found
of the
the
things that I
king,
recently,
which is big for me. Sorry, keep going. Oh, I forgot.
one of the things that I recently started doing was using the sort of the like timer apps that speedrunners use, but instead of setting the time, the sort of comparison time to the best, I set it to the average. And so what progress looks like is actually bringing those averages down, like the average time to get the first crystal, the average time to get the second crystal, etc. Bringing those averages down over time.
Yeah, I like that approach. That accounts for the variability. Fellow Regis asks, how do you start learning Randomizer? Is it by playing the base game over and over, by looking up guides, videos, etc.? I'll say for my part...
So true story, I've never played this base game. I started with this game in Randomizer. I've never played this game vanilla.
Yeah, there are people that definitely get into this game just through the randomizer itself. That's what got me to like get invested in it. I had played A Link to the Past as a kid several times actually, and I really enjoyed it, but also really found it
Oh, no,
quite
I did.
challenging. Even just like figuring out what to do and where to go can sometimes be very challenging if you're not used to the logic already. But the way that I got into Randomizer was I happened to discover it and watch a lot of the competitive races. Some of the best runners play it, and I'm like, hey, this looks really fun. I want to give it a shot. And then I found the Discord, I found alttpr.com, found the community for it, and the community has a lot of very helpful resources to get you started. And you can find a link to the Discord on the main A Link to the Past Randomizer webpage, which is alttpr.com.
Yeah. There's a lot of really good guides. There's a lot of good instructions on how to start performing some of the simpler glitches. There's even some sort of tools, some software that will show you, based on your game state, which checks you have access to, which ones you've already done, which ones are behind glitches that you can't do without certain items, etc.
Yeah, that is, for me, one of the ways that was the most useful. They're using one of those trackers to see, like, oh, hey, here are all the locations on the map that I, like, can do right now, and oh, here are the locations I can't, and here are the items I need to do those. That was where I started, and that was an incredible way for me to figure out, like, the logic of the game and what have you. And then on top of that, Volt mentioned, but the community, and particularly there's a lot of, like, very active streamers who play this game, like, every day and do a new seed. I think the final thing I'll mention is that you actually have a lot of control of the randomizer itself. We're playing a default rule set right now, which is like advanced item placement, 7 crystals, 7 dungeons. But you can tweak that a lot. There's a simpler item placement called basic, where some of the more obscure locations tend not to have progression items. You can change the number of dungeons you need to beat. You can change the number of crystals you need to have. And all of those will like affect the algorithm to either make things like easier or harder for you.
Yeah, and when you start out, there's an option that makes it so that you always start with the basic sword. Because there are seeds of this game that are possible. We didn't run into them today, but that are possible, where you have to complete between one and several bosses before you ever get a sword. Because you can damage bosses in other ways, and so you may have to fully clear entire dungeons with no sword at all, and it tends to be tough until you've sort of learned the game and learned which items you can use for what.
The other thing that the basic item setting does is, one, it makes sure that there is a sword available on the Uncle, and 2, it makes it so that you don't have to do dungeons until there are a certain number of heart containers and hearts that are in logic before they're necessary to complete.
Yeah, so this thing I was talking about having to do Aghanim on 5 hearts, like, will not happen under that rule set. You will get more hearts before we'll ask you to do that.
Yeah.
Granted, it might not be a lot more.
Yeah.
Fair. So I discovered I need boots as well. So I am looking for fire rod,
Okay.
ice rod, and boots.
You need boots for desert?
I need boots for desert,
Okay.
which may or may
And
not
also-
be necessary in mini seeds, but in this one it is.
Yeah. And I believe that was also a sword for you on the library.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be my butter sword, which I will get. It's called a butter sword because you'll find that out later. But yeah, that'll be a nice time save when I get it.
It's called butter sword because it's better than margarine.
I can't believe it's not. Yeah, my library has one of my armor upgrades, which I like desperately need because I'm still on green metal.
Oh man.
Oh
But
no!
I also do not have the boots yet, so.
Source hasn't been to.
So
Source, you haven't been to desert yet, correct?
I don't technically know whether or not it's my armor or Brackhar's armor, but I assume it's mine. I have not been to desert yet.
Okay, so we don't know if Source's deserts is also necessitates the boots.
And yeah, what we mean by boots locked is that there is an item in that dungeon that you can only get if you have the boots. There's it's like a key that will get knocked off of a pillar. And if you don't have the boots, you can't knock it off, and therefore you can't complete the dungeon.
yeah, that dungeon, Desert Palace requires you find a big key. Not all dungeons require you find the big key, which is a cute thing of the randomizer. In the base game, all dungeons required the big key, but sometimes it was implicit, like the item you needed to kill the boss was in the big key chest. Here, that's not always true, but in the case of Desert Palace, Yeah, sometimes the big key will be on that lamp, or the item, or the small key that you need to get the big key will be there, and you need it to get through a locked door that requires the big key.
Yeah, Desert Palace, despite being the second dungeon in the game, it can actually be very challenging to try to route because, one, it's in the lower left corner of the map, which is super isolated, and two, there are a lot of different circumstances that can be used to access it versus beat it. You can get there either with the book through the front entrance or with a combination of the flute, Titan's Mitts, and mirror, which seems like that would be a lot, but those are items that you're generally going to get anyway, so having to do that combination in order to get into the back of Desert Palace happens more often than you might think on first glance.
In fact,
you also
that's exactly
need,
what I had to do.
You also need a glove upgrade to complete it, as well as the lamp, in order to beat the final boss. But then, as we were mentioning, in order to get an item on the torch, you need the boots. Sometimes that item is necessary and sometimes not. So there are a lot of different circumstances that are involved. And then if you play Key Sanity, which is a variant in which the dungeon items are not confined to their vanilla dungeons, they can be found anywhere else. Finding that small key to Desert Palace can also be an ordeal.
It ends up being where, for a surprisingly large amount of the time, for an early dungeon, it's one of the last ones you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So I found my two things, so this has to be... Yeah. Alright, Misery Mire was not that fruitful for either of us. But...
Oops.
Misery Mire is
Another
my
crystal
personal
dungeon
least
down.
favorite dungeon. There are 8 chests, but only 2 random items.
Yeah.
And you need the big key in order to complete it.
I think I dislike Skullwoods more, because at least in Misery Mire you can frequently put off, and there's the bonus of the overworld checks near it that you can do. Skullwoods, it's always kind of like an interesting strategic call about when you go into Skullwoods. It did.
Yeah. Which we haven't seen anything from Skullwoods yet. Source doesn't have the fire rod, which is necessary to complete it. And for Brackhar, it's a pendant.
Yeah, so I skipped it. Although, fate might take me there soon.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Alright, Source found the
That's a big one.
cane, the red cane of Samaria. That is needed for Misery Mire as well as Turtle Rock. It's needed in Misery Mire to get through exactly one room, which Brackhar had just got through, in which you have to use the cane to conjure a block to put on a switch and then move downward. In Turtle Rock, the Cane of Samaria has this additional property where it can create these like moving platforms for you to stand on, and a lot of the dungeon has you use moving platforms to solve puzzles. So Source is checking out the
I'm about
Misery
to find
Mire
out if
area
my
now.
Desert Palace. Yeah, I'm gonna see if my, or well, actually, yeah, I'll do.
It is
So
a pendant.
Typically, yeah. Typically, so in general, right, like the way that I try to route things is there's a major objective that I have in mind. In this case, checking to see whether my Desert Palace is boost locked. But there are also several sort of convenient checks nearby-ish or on the way that I'll sort of grab. Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
Also, don't forget
have
to
an
check
armor
your
upgrade.
medallion for Mire, just in case.
Yes. Yeah, so you need one of the 3 spells to open Misery Mire. In my case, it is Bombo, so that logo right there. Which I do have, so I can get into Misery Mire. Misery Mire is a pendant for me. Oh, no. Okay.
That worked.
That's unfortunate.
Hmm.
It's fine. I do that a lot. I end up clipping into that wall. Normally, when you mirror into a wall like that, it'll actually just send you back to the Dark World. But in this one case, for some reason, you just jump a very long way to nowhere. Sort of confusing, but that's okay. So I'm about to do the thing that Volt was talking about a second ago about going in the back entrance of Desert Palace. So you go into the Dark World like this.
It's fun because doing it this way is faster, even if you do have the book.
Yeah, right. Oh, wait. Then you mirror in here. And did I do the thing again? Let's see. There's one check down here that I'll go take a peek at. Nope. And then you can just go right into this thing.
Alright, Brackhar is about to do Skull Woods. Source is checking Desert right now. Brackhar is doing Skull Woods the 100% safe way, it looks like.
100% safe way, yeah. Because I want to, so Skull Woods has a bunch of small keys in it. For the way I read it, I need at least one. And I can be aggressive and bet I'll find it in the chest, but if I don't, it's a soft lock and I have to save and quit. So I tend to do this way in marathons.
Yeah, my Desert Palace is boots locked.
Alright, we'll be needing both of your boots. Which means that we'll be getting someone's red mail as well.
Okay. Let's see.
The funny thing about playing Multiworld Randomizer in specific is because items can be found in either game, when you see an item physically in a location, you don't actually know whose it belongs to until you get it. That being said, there are some items that are unique, so if Source sees something like the flippers and Brackhar already has the flippers, then obviously since Brackhar already has his, then that would be Source's.
Right.
But okay, so now we'll be looking for your boots. Each of your boots before going into go mode.
Boots, fire rod, ice rod for me.
So I was talking about a tracker earlier. I normally play with a tracker up on my other monitor, but because we're in VR today, I am trackerless, which means I'm having to sort of keep the state of all of the possible checks and which ones I have access to and which ones I've already done in my head. And it is something that I'm not 100% used to, so I'm going to somewhat rely on these fine folks to tell me if I'm forgetting about something.
All right,
I know I still have to do the North Loop. Yeah.
Not to be lost. Source is doing Skullwoods the riskiest way, which is jumping down this hole and then betting that you'll find a small key in one of these 3 chests that are coming up.
You have 3 chances.
And there one is, so worked out.
Yeah, so we're not soft locked. And like the math on this is that you end up getting soft locked something like 6 to 8% of the time, I think it was. Which is unfortunate, but I already can't complete this dungeon because I don't have the fire rod, and so like I'm willing to just sort of come in and take a peek at it and not avoid spending too much time on it.
Mm-hmm. Skullwoods also has only 2 random items, and Source just found 1.
Yeah, and I found 1 in mine, so another one of my items is at the back, but...
that means I actually found both of them, because I found 300 rupees as well.
Oh, you found 300 rupees as well. Okay, cool. So
yeah, it was in the first chest was 300 rupees. Is that right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then you are done.
In that case, I'm just going to leave because there's no way I can find. I was sort of hoping that I would find the fire rod. Actually, I'm gonna go this way and we're gonna do the North Loop. Can I get?
Yep, I think that's a good call.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to talk about some of the convenience stuff of the randomizer seed as well?
What do you mean by convenient stuff?
The changes to text and other things.
Oh, like how they
hints
made
and
cutscenes
all
out of
that,
the game.
yeah.
So ordinarily when you get a crystal, there is a lot of text that you get from saving the maiden. There's a fire rod. The randomizer cuts out the majority of the repetitive and unnecessary dialogue in the game. There's also a hint setting that is currently enabled where you can use the telepathic tiles, which in the vanilla game would actually offer you hints on how to complete the dungeon, but in the randomizer it gives you hints about specific items or specific locations, what you can find there.
Not always useful hints, to be fair.
Yeah, sometimes the hints are like the Palace of Darkness key is in Palace of Darkness, and you're like, yeah, great, thanks. But sometimes they are quite useful. In particular, like sometimes it'll tell you what's on the pedestal, so like that thing that you need all three pendants to open, and that is a very lengthy check to find out sometimes, and so knowing what's on it is like, oh good, I don't have to worry about it this time or whatever, or maybe I do, and that's good to know that as well.
Yep, most of the time the hints are biased towards locations that are normally very difficult and out of the way to access.
sad I couldn't show off the hammer dash.
Yeah, I hope you find the boots soon.
Yeah, and I didn't get to show off water running either. All the cool glitches either in this game either involve I can't open this. What am I doing? All the cool glitches in this game either involve the boots or the cane of Samaria, pretty much. Sometimes bombs.
Well, we now have the cane, and neither of you have done Ice Palace yet, and both of you can. Ice
That's
Palace
true.
happens to be the green
Yeah.
pendant for both of you, though.
Yeah, that's
Where am I? What am I doing?
that's probably where I'm going next, honestly. I don't want to, but
Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna do that as well. I was gonna go check. Oh, I already checked Pyramid because I did Aghanim. Right. This is the whole like not having a tracker thing
oh no, okay, I'm good.
catching up with me.
It can take you soon. Tay the Time Traveler
Alrighty.
asks, how many times do you just find items in their vanilla positions? Because that can be kind of funny to find.
It does happen.
It does happen, and it can actually be very mean for when it happens. Because as I was saying towards the
scream
beginning,
every time it
Absolute
happens.
worst.
yeah, as I was saying towards the beginning of the stream, a general strategy that people use when routing through Randomizer is to not enter a dungeon until you have all of the items to complete it, because you can't rely on the item that you need to complete it being inside the vanilla dungeon. However, if something like the hammer is in the big chest of Pod, the dungeon where it's found in,
Yup.
that can often be very rude, and you'll like last location it before going anywhere
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, hammer in vanilla location and pod is absolutely the worst one because hammer gates a lot of stuff too, and so you not only did it take you forever to find it in its vanilla position, but you like haven't had it, to help you traverse the overworld and have Dark World access and all this other stuff.
I realized I haven't looked at Lake Hylia. I should do that.
It's a nice view.
Let's do
You could like
that.
film a movie there, and call it the
There's an
Notebook.
ice rod here. That'll make me happy. Nope. Okay. Oh dear, Volt. Oh dear.
All right, do you want to start describing Icebreaker?
Oh yeah. All right. So Source is about to, and Brackhar too are about to do one of my favorite tricks in the game, which is called Icebreaker. So Icebreaker, you use the Cane of Samaria and a set of very precise positions and inputs to clip through a wall, which gets you to the right side of the dungeon first. Not only is this the fastest way to complete the dungeon, but it also front loads the item checks because there are a lot of items on the right side as well. So it was very important what Source did there about hitting the crystal switch before moving onward to this screen. Because
I can never
that
actually
is
get this
relevant
like
later.
spam. Oh wait, I just had it. All right, let's try to set this up again. And with this input delay, it's like very hard to pause buffer.
Yeah. Do you wanna tell the audience how we're doing this setup right now
Sure.
and how we're in VR and playing together?
Oh, there you go. There you go. You got it.
Hey.
Icebreaker! Yeah, so Brackhar and Source are actually in VR chat right now. I'm in VR chat as well, but on desktop mode. And we have OVR Toolkit open, which is a program that lets you see your desktop while inside VR.
Oh, no.
So,
No.
oh, you got this. You got this.
Sorry.
Don't
It's
feel free
fine.
to hit
Everything's
the
fine.
skeleton out of the way.
Yeah. I got bunnied at the same time.
Yeah. So Brackhar and Source are
sorry.
using OVR Toolkit in order to see their screen at the same time while getting to hang out in VR chat and create this couch experience for all of us.
And then we are streaming our gameplay to Discord. And then Rube, who is off camera, is our camera source. Volt is then combining all of those together. Oh, hey, there you go, Source.
Ooh.
Volt is then combining
nice.
all of those together to stream to OBS, and Zila and Rube are being kind enough to help us with our tracker as well.
Yeah, we have a fairly complicated tech setup going here, which is, you know, part of the reason for some of the challenges.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, no, I don't have boots. Oh, no. Please. Okay. Oh, no.
So,
this
Source,
is the worst room in the game.
I believe all you need for Go mode is
Uh,
the boots and maybe the Quake medallion. With having found that fire rod.
I don't need to do this bomb jump because I had triggered, right?
I wasn't counting
I
the
actually
number
need
of
ice.
items.
I need ice room actually.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm done with items. I'm done with items.
So here's
I will check this
here's an
myself
example of a
later.
bomb jump actually working. Hopefully, I don't jinx myself.
Nicely done.
So I just jumped right across that pit. Yeah. How do you get ice team from here? You go down, right? Yeah.
Yep, you go down.
Yeah, down.
Which you can only do if you have a small key, which isn't a problem because you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to skip Ice Tea Room, but I didn't end up needing to go there because I've gotten all 3 items that are in this dungeon.
The ice
still
physics in
beat
this
the
game are
boss.
absolutely punishing.
I'll still beat the boss on my side because he has the green pendant, which is another item check, but I know I've completed the dungeon from...
And we
Yeah,
know
so
it was
my big
necessary
key was
because it
in-
had fire rod.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that fire rod was a big find.
Completing Ice Palace is considered one of the most difficult dungeons in the game. This is a very difficult boss. As you can see, Brackhar got hit by him once and it did 4 hearts of damage. Cold Star Hugs are very painful.
Oh, no.
Routing your way through Ice Palace is particularly confusing and difficult to navigate because there are several loops that are circuitous. But once you get used to the logic and figuring out where everything is, it's actually a lot of fun to do because it contains 3 items, and with the use of Icebreaker and another bomb jump that we don't get to see because Icebreaker renders it unnecessary, Ice
I think it has
Palace
to be a small
is
key
a
there.
lot of fun.
what do I do?
Yeah, it is definitely one of the more difficult parts of any run. But it is pulling it off in particular. It feels great.
And doing this Cold
Let's
Star fight can be
safety
very
check that
difficult,
item.
especially on Green Mail.
Yeah, and I have no safeties. I have no potions, so that's not ideal. But
So I am gonna go turn in the green pendant. I'm doing it from Dark World because I'm gonna safety check that one treasure chest in Palace of Darkness, and this will be the only time I come back to this area of the map.
That's a totally fair call. So I didn't really explicitly talk about the use of the pendants. The green pendant you can turn into Sahasrara, who is here, and he will give you an additional item that in the vanilla game would be the boots, but in this particular seed it is a red rupee, not necessary.
No,
the-
my portal! Oh no! Oh no!
Uh-oh.
You see this?
Oh man, you were too...
There we go.
Oh, nice,
Okay,
nice,
there
nice.
we go.
Alright,
I had to leave it and come back. It's fine.
saved it.
you broke into Sahasrara's house too eagerly. The poor old man was just enjoying his morning coffee, and you had to come up and extort him for $20. The other use of pendants is if you have all 3 pendants, then you can check the Master Sword pedestal. And the Master Sword pedestal normally would have the Master Sword, but it has one item that is usually not necessary, but in extremely rare, like 0.5% of circumstances, it is. So oftentimes when people are playing Randomizer, they get hyped for, is this a ped seed? Is this a pedestal seed?
Okay.
Wherein
miscounted.
you need whatever item it is that's on the pedestal in order to progress through the game and get all the rest of the crystals.
I also just remembered that I have not done Light World or Dark World Death Mountain, which means there's like 10 checks over there or something.
Oh, Source, go there right now. What are you doing? Bail! Bail!
Let's go with this Crystal
That's
Dungeon.
next on my list.
It's a crystal
Yeah.
dungeon. You have 1 item left to find.
To be fair,
Okay.
I couldn't get there until I found the hookshot. At least in Light World. I have been able to go there for a while. Actually, I shouldn't.
Yeah, you did swap tiles the same time I did.
I shouldn't
What
try
are you
to
talking
cover
about?
But yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sure there will be nothing important over there except for both of our boots, probably.
Except for both our boots, my ice rod.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine. That's fine. It's a crystal dungeon, so do the crystal dungeon. You could also mirror to show what's on pedestal.
Yeah. I do in fact have the book. Because the other way that you can check what's on pedestal, other than getting it from a hint tile, is if you have the book, you can read the pedestal itself, and it will just tell you what item is there. Get away! Oh my god! You know what? Screw this.
That is a good defense.
Like spawn camping.
Man. Last night I was practicing all these speed strats with boots. I was like, oh, I gotta get these inputs down, and I'm still here, no boots. All the upgrades just walking by.
Extremely same. The Volt mentioned earlier that we run competitively, and like I think for all three of us, definitely at least for Brackhar and I, it's our first time running like competitive races. And the interesting thing about that, the interesting thing about that is that there basically is a different format every week. And so there's like sort of different, as we mentioned, there's like custom rules, and there are different custom rules every week as I get grabbed by Wallmaster. That's what I get for talking. And my most recent race was a race where you start the game with swords and boots. And so like practicing how to get good at running with the boots is like sort of a big part of being good at that particular format.
I routed this slightly wrong, but that's fine. I should check ledge while I'm out here.
Okay, I'm glad you're using the lamp there.
Yeah. No.
Okay, Source is coming up to Mothula, who is the boss of Skullwoods.
Yeah.
Also, one of the more unpleasant bosses in the game.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, this sort of VR chat setup gives me about 150 to 200 milliseconds of input delay, and so, in particular, as you'll see, this fight tends to be fairly precise. There's lots of stuff moving around, and so it's just a little extra difficult. Nope.
Okay.
So fun fact about
not
the
off to a great
spikes in this
start.
room, the spikes will always deal 1 heart of damage regardless of what mail upgrade you have. Mothula's beams will deal a variable amount. With blue mail, it's also 1 heart of damage. Okay, and that was a map, so I believe you still have 1 item left to find.
No, I found both of them. It was a 300 rupees on a heart piece
Okay, then you're good.
from the front side. Yeah.
It's Brackhar that has 1 item left to find.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what's on this pedestal.
Alright, I'm predicting 3 bombs.
Couch change.
All right, well, I have to round out the trifecta by going arrows.
Refreshing
Oh,
green
bottle with
goop.
green goo.
That is a bottle of green potion. Not necessary. Would be nice to have, but definitely not worth picking up if you can
Not
avoid
worth
it.
3 dungeons. Not worth 3 dungeons.
Alrighty. We also haven't been able to show off super speed because we haven't had the boots.
We haven't had the boots.
This is a shame. Alright.
Okay.
Soon
so
enough.
next is Spike Cave, and then I'm gonna die of Turtle Rock. Get the.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
dead rocked myself. It's a
Yeah,
disaster.
Source not only can do the right side dungeons, but can actually beat Turtle Rock as long as it doesn't require the
Turtle
Quake
Rock.
medallion.
Yep.
Yeah. So hopefully you'll find what I need. It's much more likely that you'll find it than I will.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Dead rocks continue to be the final boss of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching your screen. Come on, you can do it. Nice rod. Nice rod.
Heart of the cards.
That's not nice rod.
Oops. Oops. There we go.
Nope. All right. That mostly is it for
Oh
me.
man.
So yeah.
Well, I gave myself a fetch quest. Alright, let me see if I can do this bomb jump. Hey, let's go. I think that's it. Oh no! That's what
Almost,
they're saying.
almost. Yeah, I think you were a little too
Great.
high on that positioning.
So you haven't even checked Hookshot Cave yet, right?
That is correct.
Yep.
All right. Good.
East of
Okay,
Mountain
I
is
can
a
figure
treasure
back
trove.
into it.
Spiral for the moment, but I'll come back to Spiral. This cave is called Hookshot Cave because there is only one of the chests in it is accessible without the hookshot. All the rest of them require the hookshot. Oh, I get to do the disappearing block trick again. Alright, ready, set.
Where'd they go? It's magic!
It's a
Presto
nice trick
change.
because all you need to do is mash.
Yeah, it's the easiest trick in the game. You just literally spam the button as fast as you can.
No, I'm not kidding. I will not doubt myself. I left that Hera chest there for a reason. I'm not gonna go for it.
The
No,
true heart of the
let
cards
me
play.
buy. Let me buy.
Yeah. If you end up checking it after Turtle Rock, it wouldn't be the end of the world because the portal is still there, and you can drop down to the portal from the safety room.
Yeah. That's fair.
I should have checked what was on. Wait. Oh. What am I doing?
Uh-oh. Okay, you got a green potion,
that's
you're
fine.
good.
I brought safety just in case.
Okay.
As a cost of checking Spike Cave first.
Right, and I can get into this rock because it is ether.
Okay.
So I probably just do that after this, I assume.
Yep, that makes sense.
Alright,
It
let's
has...
see.
Turtle Rock has 5 items. And you already saw what was on the ledge, correct?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Turtle
Yeah.
Rock is another interesting
Yeah.
dungeon to route through. It's actually somewhat linear, despite not really appearing that way on the surface. There are 5 dungeon items plus an additional one that you can get to via... It's an additional overworld location that you have to be able to access this
Wow.
dungeon in order to get to. And there are 4 small keys in addition to the big key. If you're doing this in go mode, which is when you've had all the items and you're not looking for anything more, then it's sometimes possible to skip up to 2 of the chests. But in this situation, since both Brackhar and Source are looking for things still, then they're going to be clearing as much of it as they can. The things that we still need are the Ice Rod for Brackhar and the boots for both Brackhar and Source. And once we have all those, then we have everything we need to be able to clear Ganon's Tower.
I feel vindicated for not checking Death Mountain, by the way. There was literally nothing. The best thing that I got was 1 mushroom, which opens 1 other check in 1 other place. The rest of it was just red rupees. Red rupees and nonsense.
Yeah, Death Mountain was a ghost
Okay,
town this
I
time
am-
around.
I am going to the most dangerous room in the game, especially on 3 hearts.
Mm-hmm. So the most
After
dangerous
this
room in the
room
game
coming up?
is actually Chomp Room.
Oh man.
These chain chomps do a lot of damage, and you can't defeat them. You just have to deal with them.
And their AI is kind of random.
Can we talk
Uh-oh.
about? Oh, you lose it.
Keep.
No, I'm okay. Keep. It wouldn't let me do it.
All right,
I'm
you
fine,
made it.
I'm
You
fine.
got magic powder.
I'm good.
If you hold right while going down the steps, then you won't take damage from this anti-fairy.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't hold right enough.
that's fine. It's not.
Alright,
it's
it's
not
fine.
too big of a time loss.
It's fine.
Yeah, that was close.
I briefly hit the. I held down right when I left the door, as opposed to just right. So that's what happened there.
No.
Oh no!
Come on.
Sorcerer's full magic in the pot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just sad that the door got slammed in my face there.
So the trick to this room, you have to have all 4 of the torches lit at the same time when the door opens, but as you've just seen, the door can close. So the way that you're supposed to do this is by taking the path south and going the long way around in order to light the 4 torches and then immediately position yourself right near the door that you need to go through. However, the speed strat for this is to light the 4 torches as fast as possible and then hookshot to your death, so that way you respawn where the door is and can go through that way.
Well, look, can we just take a moment to talk about how this game features cameos from the Mario universe, the Mega Man universe, and oh, there was a third one. What was it? What am I thinking of?
Mega Man universe? What are
Wait,
you
what's the
talking
Mega Man
Yeah,
cameo?
the hammer pegs. Aren't those originally like Mega Man sprites?
about? No.
I'm not familiar enough with
Maybe
Mega
I'm
Man to
crazy.
comment on that.
Mega
Maybe
Man's also a
I'm
Capcom game,
dreaming,
so-
but I thought there were maybe they're just similarly styled, and I'm dreaming. But all right, let's see if I can do jump room here. Okay. Yep. Okay. Perfect. Nice. Oh. Okay. Everything's fine. I also feel like there was one other like random thing from some other game.
I think the Super Mario cameo is the only thing, and that comes from Link's Awakening. It's actually a reference to Link's Awakening, if I recall correctly,
Yeah, that's correct.
which had.
Wait, was there
which
was
That
there
has-
more to
that
Fire
has its
Emblem's
own set of
Awakening? I actually don't
cameos.
remember that. And now it's gonna bother me that I don't remember what the other thing was that I was thinking of.
Uh-oh. One moment.
What's up?
Accidentally. It's fine. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
I accidentally did the
I-
thing where I popped Discord out to another window.
Ah, I see. I found the book in Mimic Cave.
Oh no. Oh, that's right. I have book checks too. I forgot about those.
Late game book is always my least favorite item. Yeah, those
Do you
rooms
want
as
to
well.
explain how Mimic remote control works?
Sure. So we call this Mimic Cave because the mimics that are here will do the exact opposite of whatever inputs that you're making. You can manipulate the mimics, however, by doing a neutral grab and then maneuvering them around by hitting the arrows normally.
Okay. That makes that room much easier to complete because you can just bring all the ones on the right side right down into sword range.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, my turtle rock is nothing either. Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Also, I'm running on 2.5 hearts and a dream.
But the dream is still alive.
The dream is, in fact, alive.
Hey, I did it. And then
I could
immediately got smacked
theoretically,
multiple times.
maybe fake powder to.
No, I'm just gonna be super safe.
Actually, do I have powder?
That's
no,
fair.
okay. I could theoretically fake powder to get a fairy, but
I wouldn't do that in Turtle Rock. You need magic a lot for here.
yeah.
Yeah, so this part of the dungeon that Brackhar is doing is a little bit rude. It is Laser Bridge. There are 4 items that are on Laser Bridge, but the lasers hurt a lot. There is a trick that you can do in order to basically dodge the lasers, even when you don't have an invulnerability item. But that is also
Which I did the very first one, but
right.
That's
That's also very difficult. That is also very difficult to pull off. So what helps here is that Brackhar opened up this door at the bottom, so the distance when you respawn isn't quite as far. And hey, got bridge skip again.
What have I done?
But no ice rod, so I need to leave.
Gosh.
Right. As long as you don't go to the Dark World again, then that portal will still be active. So if you wanted to, you could check that big chest of Tower of Hera. Are there any other Light World checks that you have outstanding?
I can do the ether ether tablet since I'm up there as well.
That makes sense.
I get off that, but yeah, that's not. It's not looking good.
What's the best way to deal with this Helmosaur? I'm like very afraid that I'm gonna get hit and die here.
Oh, the Hard Hat Beetle?
Yeah. Can I arrow this?
Hookshot
Oh, no,
will
not the hard hat. The mini Helmosaur.
Yeah.
Oh, Hookshot will stun it. Silver arrows will kill it, which you don't have.
Oh,
So yeah,
no.
I just do
The
Hookshot.
knockback from the sword. The knockback from the sword pushed me back into the laser. That's actually.
Oh,
kind
that's
of unbelievable.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it doesn't set me back that much actually. Wow. That was like exactly what I was afraid was gonna happen. Boy.
I think you have enough magic for exactly one more cane shot, but you might want to grab the magic powder or the full magic in the.
Oh, in
Yeah, I think you're
in
fine.
next to
I think you're fine.
Tower of Hera, we meet again.
I always forget where that full magic is anyway. Okay. Oh,
It wasn't enough.
nope.
Okay.
It was not.
In that case, there is a small magic pot.
There's one in here, right?
No, you have to go back to the room with the 2 pokey enemies. There's a small magic pot in the lower left one, and then you can mirror to start again from the entrance, the second entrance.
Right. Whoa.
Demise asks, do the furry avatars make the run go faster? Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, especially considering. Wait, I have no magic. Oh, there we go. Especially considering there's a lot of pixel perfect tricks, so I use visual cues based off my furry avatar in the game. So yes, they actually do make the game.
Wearing an otter avatar guarantees that you get fake flippers first try.
It's a psychological edge. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. When I'm doing runs where I can't use this avatar, my go-to is generally Abigail from Stardew Valley, who's one of the custom avatars that's sort of included with the sort of stock ROM hack.
I've got one try at this. Which is no good if I do that.
Uh-oh.
Nah, I missed it.
Nah.
It's fine. I didn't get hit, so I got another try.
Now you got another
I
try.
did exactly the same.
As long as I don't
exactly the
get
same
hit.
thing as I did the first time.
Okay, watch out for this guy here. If you just run through, then he will hit you. I recommend using a cane block to deflect him.
Cane block? Like cane block to the left?
Yeah.
Or just below me so he bounces off of it?
Below you, so he'll just... There you go. Nicely done.
Ooh, that is absolutely extremely spooky on one heart. Okay. Fortunately, there are a bunch of fairies here, so I don't have to be on one heart anymore.
Yeah. Nice thing about safety room is you can mirror to the light world and grab some fairies. Don't actually fall down that hole and don't actually jump off that cliff, or you can be lost in the network of caves surrounding Death Mountain forever.
Yep. I have done that once. It is not... I do not recommend it.
Yeah.
It is not pleasant. Also, man, I should have gotten... I should have just gone and bought potions before I tried to do Turtle Rock. I don't know why I didn't. I was in such a hurry to get to Death Mountain.
Nice
And the
job
reason
on that
for that
bomb
is
going.
that this boss at the end of this dungeon is tough.
Okay.
Unless you have half magic. Oh right, and I don't actually have that many magic.
So let me think. In my game, I have Bombos tablets. I have the one item in Skull Woods.
Did you do Magic Bat?
I did do Magic Bat. It's much more likely it's in Source's game than mine.
Yeah,
If I
and I'm
commit-
just gonna have to death spam to finish Laser Bridge. Yeah.
It's a hard trick.
If I can
Actually, I may want to go bottle those fairies. I'm trying to think of how many times I would actually have to die to do this. Because I can't get the Laser Bridge skip with any amount of consistency. Oh,
Hey, you got it!
got it once.
And it's half magic!
Oh man! Wow. That is actually
That was
incredible.
really clutch. Nicely done.
Wow. Okay, so for the record, that is the first time I have ever done that glitch successfully. I have never done it before.
The VR superpowers.
Wow.
Unfortunately, there wasn't
Okay.
an item there.
Yeah.
I guess I'll do Skull Woods, and that will make. If I do that, that means I'll have to do Turtle Rock again.
I mean, if you want, you can wait until I beat Trinex and see if there's some.
Do you have an item on
there,
Trinix?
but I believe so. Hang on, let me double check.
Okay, I'll
I
just
do
set
not.
up.
It's Compass. It's Compass.
Okay.
There's also
Right, I
finishing
don't wanna do that.
Thieves. Also finishing Thieves Town, which has 3, you said?
That's right. That's probably the play. Let's do that.
Do you have like book or shovel or anything like that?
I have book, which is why Bombos is in play. Let me do Thieves first. That seems more sane. Worst case, you know what? Worst case, I do. This is definitely the right call, because if I beat Thieves and then beat Skull Woods, I'll have all 3 pendants.
Oh man. You think it's a pedestal seed?
I don't know. I'm gonna hope it's
we're
not.
we're
but
hedging bets here.
Hedging bets. Doing this first makes sense, even without that, because of the 3 checks.
Brackhar, did you do Spike Cave?
I did.
Okay. Source, I don't believe you did Spike Cave yet.
I have not done Spike Cave. I've also not done Spiral, so I'll do Spiral on my way out of here, and then I'll go back up and do Spike after that.
Okay. Did you do Ether Tablet?
I have not done Ether Tablet either.
Okay. Well, that's a couple that
So
are.
it's good side checks. That's 3.
Yeah. So we're sort of you know, and this is like, at this point it gets a little technical and hard to follow along, but basically where we're at is we're in a state where both of us have done all of the major clusters of items. And so now there's just like a smattering of individual single chests that are off by themselves in a random place. And since the item that we need has to be in one of them somewhere, it's just a matter of ticking them off one by one until we find it.
Yeah. So this is one of the ways that like causes all that variability in speedrun, right? Because if I had found an ice rod in Turtle Rock, like I would be basically good to go.
Be cruising, yeah.
But sadly, I made that bet. That bet didn't pay off, and now I'm paying the consequences.
Yeah, and so like, I mean, part of getting good at Randomizer is just learning how to sort of take good bets and you know, make reasonable decisions, and whether those decisions actually pay off or not isn't, you know.
Yeah.
It's either a good decision or it's not a good decision before you open the chest, right?
Yeah.
I don't know why I came back here to do this way, but that's okay.
And then what all the glitches do is they basically allow us as runners to mitigate risk. So, for instance, you know, if there's an item that is in a dark room that you need, and you can do the dark room, you don't need the lantern. And so that like helps mitigate if like the lantern's in a really bad place, as an example.
Okay, so we're about coming there on time for Furality and time to transition to the next event. So what we're going to do is I will continue streaming the end of this race on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Voltaleon. As we finish up for Furality, Brackhar and Source, do you have any parting thoughts about randomizers in general and what this is like?
Yeah, I would definitely advise to join the community if you're at all interested in this. You know, the Link to the Past randomizer website is great. The Discord is great. You can hit either of us up, I'm sure. We're happy to talk randomizer with y'all.
Yeah, I think the hold on, I have to beat this boss real fast. The only other thing I would add to that is yeah, I think randomizers for me are really interesting because it's kind of basically like a little puzzle box where you're always just trying to like solve it again and again, with the addition of like, hey, actually like opening the puzzle box, super deadly. Be careful, it's got spikes. So it's just a really, oh hey, there's my boots.
There we go.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so apologies for the technical issues. We started late, which is why we're not able to finish. But please, like, if you'd like to check out the rest of it, go to the Twitch channel that Volt just said, which Volt one more time is
twitch.tv/Voltaleon, which I will spell in the. Actually, I don't know if I can post links, so I'll just type it in the chat. Yeah, so we'll be finishing up there.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thanks. If you're interested in speedruns, if you're interested in randomizing, definitely a fun experience. Really highly recommend. Thank you for checking this out, and we all hope that you enjoy the rest of the con. Before we get going, I want to thank Rube and Zirla for helping out with the stream. I don't know, Rube and Zirla, if you can come onto the VR chat window that we have here, but yeah, feel free to say hi. Zirla is also the one who did the custom sprites that both Brackhar and Source are playing with, and there's Zirla right next to Brackhar saying hi. And a fantastic job on that. Thank you both for helping out with the tracking. Thank you, Furality, for having us. Flamey and Brule for dealing with our setup things that we had at the beginning of the stream. And yeah, I think that's it on our end. We'll finish the seed and have a great rest of your Furality.
Enjoy, everyone.
Bye.